Alright, so at 17, I was a bald headed little bedroom producer. Now I'm 27 and I got hair, but most importantly, I'm a top 2% producer with over 127 million streams, 9 top 50 records, and I made a full time living producing. And in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 most important habits that helped me get there. Now, habit number 1 is to steal shit. And to further this point and to drive this point home even further, I got this quote by Pablo Picasso, one of the greats when it comes to creating shit, and he said that good artists copy, great artists steal. And I found that to be very true when it comes to music, because music is built on stealing, sampling, interpolation, and inspiration, aka stealing again. So music is actually built on these things, and I can bet you that you probably know a bunch of songs which sounds very similar to other songs. And what I found is that most big songs sound similar to each other. And it's because they're following a thing, which is they take winning concepts and they make them their own. And that is the reason why this habit paid off so much for me. So I'm gonna show you an example, which is this song right here. So this song came out in 92, and I want you to listen to the guitar. And as you can see, this song is a high performing song. Nice, right? Then we can listen to this song that came out in 91. Pretty similar, right? And this one is also a very high performing song. So what they did here was that they took a winning concept and they made it their own. Now, this lesson didn't really stick for me, and I didn't quite understand it until I think this was 2021 or something like that. Because at that point, I was asked by an artist to make beats for his album. So he sent a bunch of references. However, he didn't send the references directly to me. He sent them to another guy, which were supposed to send them to me. I never got the references. So I just put together a pack that I think, or that I thought would fit him well. Now, one of the references he sent to me was this song. So you probably heard it before. As you can see, very high performing song, and it did great, right? Then I had a beat that sounded like this on my hard drive. JB. Very similar. However, I did not do that intentionally. They just happened to be similar. So I sent that out, and then the artist got it, and he was all psyched because he was like, "Oh my god, you matched your reference perfectly. This is gonna be my single, whatever." And I was just like, "Wait, what? What reference?" Like, I hadn't heard it. But this song worked incredibly well. So if we take a look at the song that I made, it got 16 million streams. The population is in Sweden, because this is in Swedish, is 10 million. So it's more than the population of the country. Like, that's how many people listen to it. And the reason that this worked was because I took a winning concept without even realizing it and then making it my own. And after that happened, I realized that, like, okay, that's where it's at, and I'm gonna start doing that more. So then I started intentionally taking winning concepts and making them my own. So what I mean by taking winning concepts and making them your own is basically you finding references of big songs, and then you use them as inspiration to make your own. And you don't have to like blatantly steal stuff, but it can be stuff as like taking the chord progression or taking the tempo and just using it as a general guide and inspiration for whatever you're making. Because then the likelihood that your beat will turn out good and the likelihood that it will become a good song is way higher, because you're taking a concept that's already working and you're just making it your own. And doing this, not only did it help me like make better songs and bigger songs, but also helped me become a better producer and make better beats, because I was constantly analyzing and breaking down high performing songs and learning from them. So it's like you're learning from the best of the best consistently, and that helped me get way better at making beats overall. So that is why habit number 1 that really helped me go full time is to steal shit. Oh yeah, by the way, quick intermission. If you want more help producing full time and you're really serious about this, then I actually have a free community made for producers just like you. So people are in here making sales, getting wins. We're sharing free resources, networking, collabing, and I'm also doing a free feedback call every week where I'll help you improve both your beats, networking, every single thing when it comes to producing. So if you're really serious about this, no pressure, but you're very welcome to join in on that if you want to. The link's going to be in the description. Now, habit number 2 was to take studio sessions. So making songs instead of just beats really is what helped me go full time. So just making beats is cool and all, but the purpose of a beat is in the end to become a song. And I noticed that whenever I focused on making songs, I got way more releases, I got way more brand building, and as a result, I made way more money. So the way, or the easiest way I found to make sure that you get songs made is by getting into studio sessions. And what getting into studio sessions did for me was that it taught me engineering, taught me songwriting, and it taught me top lining. Basically, it taught me how to make a full song from start to finish. Because what ends up happening when you get into studio sessions is that you get in there, then you perhaps listen through beats or you make beats from scratch for the artist that you're with, and then you end up helping them writing the song. They might get stuck on like what melodies to do, so you jump in the booth, you make a quick top line to show them like, okay, this is what can be done. And you become a full-on producer instead of just a beat maker. So you help them make a fully finished song. And a lot of the songs I have would never have happened if it wasn't for me being in the studio with the artist. So an example of that is this song right here, 8 million streams. And this wasn't like, I didn't even send out beats for this song. But what I did was that I had a bunch of ideas on my computer. I think it was like a throwaway idea that we accidentally stumbled upon. Then the artist really liked it, so we revamped it. And then in the session, I helped him with the lyrics. I helped him with the top lines and like what to say, how to structure the lyrics, how to structure the song, and all of that good stuff, which made that song happen. That song wouldn't have happened otherwise. Now, the reason why this is so important and so great is because when I did this, I became a valuable one-stop shop for artists. So instead of me just sending out beats and then an artist having to find a recording engineer, then probably get it to a mixing engineer, then have to write everything themselves, figure out every single thing about the song themselves, then getting it to a mastering engineer, then releasing it, like that takes time. That can take them weeks just to make a song. They could just go to me, we'll make a song in a couple hours. It will be mixed, mastered, finished. They'll get help making it, and then it's done. So you become a far more valuable producer this way. However, if you don't have the possibility to get into sessions, you can still do this remotely. Like you can get on calls with the artist. You can still help them with these things. You might not just be there to physically record them, which is fine. But you can still like help them as much as possible with the song so that you become as valuable as possible, even if it's remote. Now, habit number 3 is to give for free first. So I noticed that helping people without expecting anything back actually massively benefited me in the long run. So an example of this is early on in my career, I got approached by a manager, and he had a bunch of artists. They didn't have songs released. They did not have a lot going on. But he approached me and he was like, hey, I want you to produce these artists for me. And I just said, sure. I did not like start being difficult and be like, oh yeah, these are my splits, this is my worth, this is my fees, my rates, whatever. I just said, sure, let's do it. Because first of all, I needed this. I did not have a whole lot of stuff going on, so I needed it. Second of all, what ended up happening was that we did like do a symbolic split. So I got 20% on the master, which doesn't really matter when they're not doing like huge numbers, but fine. I got 20% on the master. But most importantly, what this did for me was that working with this artist, for example, and the other artists that the manager had, got me the direct connection, which led to me making this record. And this record helped me make all of these. But me sacrificing my time without expecting anything back actually led to that happening. Now, does that mean that you should always work for free? No. But sometimes, especially when you don't have a lot of things going on, or you believe that working for free could help you level up in some other way, then it can be worth it. So I worked for free. That's one thing. And sometimes I also lended my studio. Like, for example, if I had people coming into my city, they needed a studio, I would just be like, hey, here's the keys, borrow the studio. And then the next time I was in their city, or I wanted to connect with an artist or whatever, I could just ask them and they would make that happen because I've already helped them. So reciprocity is real. And by giving first, people will be inclined to give back. Now, habit number 4 is pretty obvious. I think it's common knowledge by now, but that is to collab and network. So there was a point in time where I literally had thousands of beats on my hard drive doing absolutely nothing. Now, outreach, networking, and collabing is what helped me get those beats out of my hard drive into the hands of people that could make songs and get me placements. Because beats are useless if nobody is on them. And I used to, for some reason, believe that I could just sit at home and make beats all day and then hope that in some magical way it would land into the hands of people that actually wanted to use them and that could bring my career forward. It doesn't really happen. So the only way to make that happen is by doing outreach, is by going to events, and it is by collabing with people. That's really the only way. And you have to start doing that militantly and aggressively if you want your beats to get used and you want to make this a career. And it took me a while to realize that. I don't know why. It's stupid, but it did. But the main lesson here is that beats are useless if nobody's on them. So adopt that mindset. Think that, okay, if nobody's on these beats, they're actually useless. So the most important thing I can do is to get them in the hands of the right people. Now, habit number 5 is focus. So I realized that I only have a limited amount of energy. We all only have a limited amount of energy. So what takes a lot of energy is having a lot of complexity in your life, or I had a lot of complexity in my life. So complexity comes in different forms. But one form of complexity is, for example, chasing a lot of different business models when it comes to music. So for example, trying to chase sync placements, type beats, and regular placements all at the same time. Like, that's going to add a lot of complexity and it's going to be really hard. And you're not going to have the energy and mental headspace to actually do any one of those well, which is going to lead to you not seeing results in any of them. And another part of complexity, or the second layer to complexity, is having a complex life overall, like having perhaps a partner that isn't supportive of what you're doing, or you're having fights all the time, or having negative friends that impact you negatively, that they're doing drugs or whatever. Just having a lot of complexity, things that take up time, things that take up energy, mental headspace, is really going to slow you down, because all of that mental headspace and mental energy will be allocated towards dealing with those complexities instead of doing the few things that will actually help you go full-time producing. So what I did was that I just looked at all of the complex stuff in my life, like all of the bad relationships, all of the business models I was pursuing that wasn't giving me results, and I removed them. And I stopped doing them, and I stopped hanging out with those people. And then I only focused all of my time and attention towards doing the few things that would actually help me go full-time with music. And that is, in a nutshell, what it means to actually stay focused. So by removing all other distractions and bad stuff, you are focused. So just to recap, habit number 1 is to steal shit, because music is built on stealing. And by taking winning concepts and making them your own, you will make better beats that more people will like and use. Habit number 2 is to get into sessions. And the purpose of getting into sessions is to become a valuable producer that makes full-on songs, not just beats. Habit number 3 is to give for free first. And helping people without expecting anything back will get your stuff back in the long run, because once you help somebody out, they're far more inclined to help you back. Habit number 4 is to collab and network. Having beats on your hard drive is completely useless. Getting them to the right people is what's important, and the way that you do that is through outreach, networking, and collabing. Now, lastly, habit number 5. Stay focused. You only have a limited amount of time and energy in your day. Remove all the things that isn't bringing you closer to your goal.